Hi you guys. This video is typically for my personal training clients. However, if this does reach people who are complete novices in the gym, new to it and don't know what to do, I hope this does really help. With shoulder training, most people tend to focus on the presses. But if you want a fuller, rounder shape to your shoulder, then you do need to focus a lot of attention on your rear delt. 3 heads of your shoulder. You've got your anterior deltoid at the front, your medial head of your shoulder on the side, and obviously your posterior deltoid on the rear. Posterior deltoid, the most neglected, and you get a strange sort of sloping effect on the back of your shoulders, and you need that full shape to look, full and round. So starting this exercise, rear delts on a machine. Arms, well, because of the angle of the camera, it actually looks like my arms are beneath me, but they are level with my shoulder, horizontal with my shoulder. Little finger pointed out, thumbs pointed in. The more you twist your wrist to a neutral position, or even twist your hand to a supinated position, the more your shoulder rotates and the more you change the angle of the pressure. So try and keep your thumb pointed in and push out with your little finger. Second exercise is actually another rear delt exercise. Again, trying to focus on those rear delts, okay? Really important, not just for the way your shoulder looks, but actually really important for the whole posterior chain and how your shoulders sit, how your neck sits. Really important exercise. Do not neglect it. This one is a way of taking your grip out of the equation. If you have tendonitis in your elbows, if you have a problem holding onto dumbbells, you can use a machine like the one you can see me using, and it's a brilliant way of hitting your shoulders without actually having to hold dumbbells. I'm using this in an unorthodox way. This machine is actually designed for you to sit in with your chest against the pad that my head is pushed against. And then you would lift your shoulders out to the side and it would be a version of a side lateral raise. Leaning over, bending over like this and pushing your elbows out hits your rear delt on a machine that, well, actually typically isn't designed to be used this way, but perfectly safe, perfectly good exercise. Just twist your palm so your thumb is down. That's it. Focus more on the rear delt. The next exercise we do is yet more rear delts. I'm not a big guy, I'm a personal trainer with what I would consider to be a very reasonable and believable physique. So I'm not a mass monster. This is kind of an everyman, everyday kind of workout. Training on the rear delts, again, I can't stress enough how important it is to hit your rear delts, most neglected muscle. This one we're using a bench so that I can't use as much momentum, although I did make a common rookie gym user mistake and I went a little bit too heavy. I only got about 3 reps. So instead of just giving up and starting again, I continued with what I'm doing, but what I did is I got the 3 or 4 reps that I could get, and then after that, I did these small partial reps. Just try and get some blood in the muscle, just so there's something there, so I'm not getting nothing out of the exercise. And I'm reaching failure with the muscle. When doing these, again, the idea is that your thumb points down, your little finger points up towards the ceiling. So that's how you've rotated. You're pushing your elbow up, trying to keep your arm relatively straight in front of you. The more you bend your arm, the less direct pressure is going to be on the back of your shoulder. So try and keep your arm relatively straight. I don't lock my elbow because that can give you joint pain, so just try and keep it steady and try and limit the amount that you rock on this exercise. You're not leaning forward and then leaning back, you're trying to keep yourself side on, which is why the bench is so useful. Next exercise we're doing is a superset. A superset is where you have 2 exercises that you do back to back with minimal rest in between them. So this first exercise is what's called a side lateral raise, where you hold the dumbbells by your side and you simply lift them out to your side. I have a slight bend in my elbow. If you lock your arm, you're going to feel quite a lot of pressure in the joint. So try and have a very slight bend in the elbow, but not too much of a bend, because the closer the dumbbell is to your body, the less leverage gets put on that side muscle in your shoulder. Try and be as strict as you can. I'm doing these sat down because it actually limits the ability that I have to rock the weight up. And even when I start to really struggle, I'm trying to fight with the exercise to make sure that the muscle does the work. I'm not simply rocking forwards and backwards, swinging the weight up. Next exercise, again, hits the rear delts. I'm leaning my head forward to try and stretch my traps slightly because I don't want my traps to be squeezing my shoulder blades back. I want the pressure on the rear delt. And my arms are rocking back. Again, you can see they're relatively straight, but there is a slight bend in my elbow because I don't want to put too much pressure on my joint, in my elbow. And the last exercise is a machine shoulder press. Now this is where I do my pressing exercises at the end of the workout instead of doing it at the beginning. I'm much weaker towards the end of the workout, my shoulders are tired, but I've put all the energy that I needed to into the important muscles, the neglected muscles, the rear delt. This exercise, I've actually placed stoppers on this machine so that when the machine gets down to level with my collarbone, it gets stopped dead. Doing so means that I have to recruit 100% of the muscle fibre to lift the weight from a dead stop. If you've never tried this before, try it on a machine. It is incredibly hard. You get one hell of a pump in your shoulder, and it does mean that it's very honest with how strong you are. You can't cheat because you don't have the bounce of the movement. You obviously can't use your legs. The eccentric motion, which is the lowering phase of an exercise, builds up elastic pressure in the muscle, but when you stop dead before starting again, you don't get that benefit. And then, of course, abs on a skinny guy is like tits on a fat girl. They don't count. But did you even train if you don't pose like a twat in the mirror?